the boxes must be signed. So you can just go around the room and get people to sign the boxes on your sheet. Thank you.
Oh, really? Twice per person, yeah. So this is
and it says sign, but I'm also hello everyone. Hi, good evening. A quick twist to this bingo game. We've said sign, but we also want you to get the people's numbers. So when you complete, hello, yes, you start again. So get the phone number as well as the person's name. The signature is not as important as the phone number. And then it's everyone in the room, everyone. And one person can sign more than twice on your box, on your sheet rather. Did we get that? Meet Up. Yeah. For those who are attending for the first time, we actually started this Meet Up, this gathering. We started convening HR professionals last year, February 3rd to be precise, because we felt that there was a need in the market to help us all connect better. So we all sort of like maybe sometimes know each other by name or by face or by organization. Or even sometimes we'll meet at a conference and somebody else introduces you to somebody else and you're kind of like, oh yeah, I know that, oh I know Funke, I know Ngozi, by name. But if you really had a challenge at work, to find out how many organizations in your industry were offering something, increases in salary, based on some of the recent challenges we're having in the economy, you really will go blank, because who will I call, who do I ask? If I ask them, would they be comfortable enough to share that information? But the more that we meet, the more you can put a face to a name and you can connect. And beyond this gathering, we also, for everyone who attends, we put you on, we used to be on WhatsApp, but we're now on Telegram. And then there's a conversation that happens even beyond here. So in the next couple of months, because we meet once a quarter, you can then ask those questions, and some of the people who have benefited, how many people have benefited from just the conversations that have happened in social media, quote unquote, WhatsApp or Telegram. How many people? Information sharing. Just 2 people. Okay, couple of people, couple of hands are up. Even though one of the organizations actually, based on referrals that happened on the group, eventually hired a couple of people and then they offered to sponsor one of our meetups. So again, those are some of the things that have been happening. So we appreciate you all, because all of this will not happen if all of you are not here.
I can stand, it's fine, yeah? So I was saying it's a pleasure to be here, and it's a privilege as well to be in the midst of so many HR professionals in one room. It's not something that happens all the time. So we have cross-generational practitioners here, people who have been around for a while, people who, are just climbing up the ladder, and I guess this provides an opportunity for us not to just mingle, but to share experiences. I must say that the fact that I'm holding the microphone does not mean that I have all the answers. And that whatever I say that might have worked within the context that I have been involved in, right, would not necessarily work for everybody. That's the truth. Because there are perspectives, there are contexts, there are cultural issues, there are backgrounds that are unique to each environment, each organization, and even as we say some of these things, it's important that we're able to go back and relate some of these things to our...
Thanks for having me, Ngozi. I've known about the HR business for a long time, so it's really a privilege to meet all of you people. I have a lot of friends in HR, and we have many conversations, and being that I have a project management background, some of the conversations I have with a lot of people take me back to when I used to be a project manager. And as a project manager, we're with people, and we would always talk about progressive elaboration. We would talk about scope, quality, cost. And sometimes, the business, it would seem like we were losing the business. We didn't understand the business perspective sometimes. And that's something I have seen, sometimes as I have made some transitions and I have a lot more people who are in HR. And oftentimes, Ngozi and I have conversations about, HR plays a very important role in organizations. It's mandatory for HR people to really understand the business, work with the business, and also be mindful of what's going on in the world. Pretty much like technology people need to realize, understand, and agree that the average person in the organization is much more technologically literate and can do a lot of the work that technology people used to do before. It's the same way I feel we need to get to the point where as HR practitioners, we need to understand what's really important to the business and be willing to empower managers to do some of the things that HR traditionally has done, because it's just the way of the future. Managers need to be responsible for ensuring employee engagement. Every manager that has people reporting to him and those kind of things. So that's what I'd like to talk about, because that's what I see. I think HR plays a very important role. I see HR people as, the HR director of an organization is the chief people officer of the organization. And every organization, they say, it's true whether they agree or not, the people are their assets, or their greatest asset. Yeah, and the HR function needs to rise up to that role, and it means understanding the business more and really working with the business and leading great changes. So that's what I have to say, and then we'll take questions to whatever happens next.
So I think Ngozi wanted us to just basically talk about, share our views on HR and strategy. One thing I've realized about HR is that there are seasonal buzzwords. You move from one season of this is the in thing to no, it's this now. And then what you find out along the way is that we pick some of these buzzwords, we pick some of these concepts because it is what is happening. But most times we are not able to distill it to how is it relevant to the environment that we are at. How is it relevant to where our businesses, is looking to be at in the next future? How applicable are some of those buzzwords to us? HR strategy, I was having a discussion with my team today. I think that talking about HR and strategy as two different words is wrong fundamentally. Because let's take an example, North Korea perhaps wants to go into war with the entire world. You are going to have a war general who Kim, whatever his name is going to speak to say how are we going to go about this? Our objective, our vision is to be the world dominant leader in the next 5 years, right? We want to beat China, we want to beat America, we want to be ahead of Iran or wherever the relevant world player is. So they have a vision, they have a plan. How do we get there? That is our strategy. What are we going to do to get to that destination that we're looking at? What buttons do we need to push? What schemes, what tactics do we need to put in place?
Business hasn't realized the need or the value that HR brings to the business. They understand the importance of people to their business, and it's almost like HR are just giving many HR practitioners, and that's why I've had many conversations, are just kind of like giving over their right to influence people's decisions and fight for decisions at the table. And then the business has kind of like felt, these people are not value adding. I mean, that's probably extreme. And then that's why they go on to make decisions, and then their most important assets become an afterthought. So they say, we have made a decision. Oh, okay, so how are you going to align with this decision? So I don't think that, there are no shortcuts. If HR people do not, you need to understand the business. You need to understand what the business is about. You need to invest time in doing that. You need to win the respect of the business and understand that, whilst HR people are the custodians of the people strategy, the people, anything you want to call it, if the business no longer exists, it doesn't matter. The people won't be there any longer. So you need to just, step out and just step out and really say, what's our business about? Because then you can even make decisions that almost that will show the business that you really care. I was talking to one of my friends recently, and we were really thinking about the banks in Nigeria, how all of them have a training center, yeah? And so I was thinking that wouldn't it be nice if, like, let's say Access Bank, the HR director goes up to the MD and says, from our strategy session, it's very clear that we need to operate lean and so many other things. So my team and I have been looking at how can we add value to the business. And then the HR director himself says, we've actually realized that about 85% of the courses we run in our training center and all of that investment in the training center was okay 5 years ago. But right now it's, we're only having only 10% of the courses give us a competitive advantage. The other 85% are things that everybody else does. And so what I did was I initiated a call to my colleague at GT Bank, and we started to talk about how we can outsource or do something. That will show the business, that shows value to the business. And that's driven by the fact that the HR practitioner or the HR director realizes that it's about the business. Yes, you have to make responsible decisions for people, but if you just don't care to really go out, understand the business, you have to understand finance, you have to understand all the different aspects of the business, then people will respect you, and that's what you have to do.
I mean, I couldn't have said it better. And coming from somebody who is a recipient of our service because he's a business owner, I think he's just told us exactly what he wants. What I also try to do is, my team will have all sorts of conversations. You will not believe that some people who worked with me and you will not believe the things that we talk about. We call ourselves busybodies because it's not just about HR. The sort of training that I've had means I'm comfortable with finance, I'm comfortable with process. I brought my nose sometimes into what does not concern.
I think the major takeaway is really, so whatever background you come from, whether you were historically, okay, they put you there, I want admin, I want personnel, let's go. The question is, how much value do you really want to translate? And this is another phrase that I learned today, valuable value, like Julia said. So do you want to just bring valuable value? And value is perceived by the receiver. So I think most of the time also we forget that part. But I'm translating value, the value I'm bringing. When I speak to young people, I'm like, I want to pay 100. I said, if I pay you 100,000 naira, do you know how much value I would demand from you? You will have to be able to generate 250,000 naira in terms of work, in terms of ideas, for me to be able to pay you that. So when you say value, my dear, it's not just, okay, I'm here, teach me. Because then if I pay you less, then I can now provide enough, translate value to you by teaching you. So again, I think sometimes we're like, finance, we're supporting different HR functions, different business functions, and it's like, I'm giving these guys, what is value to the receiver? What is value to the receiver? And that's I think that's the key, again, something that we can take away. What is value, no matter where we've come from, as it were, how hungry are you for this really? Because I think that's another question we should be really asking us. How hungry? I mean, yes, is really much. But the question is, are you also what else are you adding to yourself? And to be honest with you, you're all going to become entrepreneurs. Bearing debt. Because one company will say you're 65, thank you very much, time to pack your bag, or you can't even get to 70. But I mean, for people it's 50, 55, 60, you're going to wake up. So what skills? So if there's no other motivation, trust me, the fact that you're going to wake up one day and you have to do, so for some of us who have parents, they're still alive, and they're not doing one business or the other. Yes, they are doing one thing or the other. So how are you preparing yourself? None of us are cut out for piggery, sales, and goats, everything. Not that I'm taking anything away from. I'm just saying, no, seriously, because it takes so many. And you can only have so many sometimes. Sometimes even because you have worked and sat on a desk for years, it's very tough. And if you find that even for some of our parents, those businesses fail because you haven't been prepped enough, and then the thinking that comes with that, and the energy levels as well, and then chasing the people. I mean, for some of us, you probably never worked with people who are operators or technicians, except maybe you're doing supply chain or support. Yeah, and all of a sudden you're chasing people with level up, and seriously. So if there's no other motivation to add value to yourself, to say, let me learn beyond here. What will I be doing for myself? And some of us didn't even think that recession will come upon us. The number of people who we know, if you don't know someone, a friend of a friend who has lost a job or who has been made redundant, not because they're not bright, but just because the economic situation in the organization is like, we need to scale down. Some people have been asked to go for a year. For some oil and gas companies, just take some leave. See, when there's a project, we'll call you guys on. So what will you then be doing if you're just sitting and waiting for your organization to train you? What else? What's that model? It's a broken record. We're not good in finance. Let us clean up our act and ask people to teach us. Get going. Seriously. Okay. Next question. Yes? Thank you.
We're waiting for comment section.
Yeah?
Understand the business in a practical way. And one way is to go to the marketplace. So depending on the type of company that you are in, if for instance FMCG background, have we as HR once in a while considered leaving our offices, getting off our butt, and going to the market with a salesman to understand how the company makes money? That's one way to walk it back. Because when you're sitting down in the office, you're hiring the salesman or whatever we have to do normally in the office. A lot of us get stuck in the office. And when you say you want to go out to the marketplace, you are looked at like, okay, you don't have work to do, you want to go to the marketplace and just jolly off. But really, if we want to understand the business better, go to the marketplace, whatever your marketplace is. That's just my comment.
Your name and your voice?
My name is Jennifer. I work for Buy Stuff. Buy Stuff makes Nivea, because a lot of us don't know Nivea. We make Nivea cream.
Any more comments? Yeah? No, not do that. Wait, someone behind me. Oh, I saw it. Oh, I saw it. My God.
Yes, I think there's an international business guru who said that a business only has two functions, marketing and innovation, and everything else is a cost. So I think if we were to see every single very senior VP as a customer, a client, then we'll actually attach a different approach to seeing them, because I work for organizations where there's an internal market, so you don't even have to worry about the external market. You're under so much pressure internally to justify your budget that it makes you actually sit up. And I think in about 10-15 years, most of the jobs in HR won't exist. It's already happening in accounting. They'll just disappear. At work, we've just recruited a HR manager internally, and she's our tax manager, but we've made her HR manager. So it's actually, a lot of people were shocked, but I'm very excited about it, because I have to say, when you really, really look at the HR function, it's not rocket science. It's just bread and butter stuff. And I think we're actually going to get a very finished product from this lady, because we've taken someone totally different who ordinarily we wouldn't put in that role, and we're putting her in that role. I don't have an energy background, but I was recruited, and I was told I was recruited because they were fed up of everyone sounding the same. So I think sometimes you need to be very daring in who you bring in HR under you. If you're, when I was filling out the thing, I was struggling to even understand some of the SI, all those things. And because I am in HR, but it's because I see things from the outside. So I think that for me, if I'm recruiting into HR, I'll definitely recruit people who are not from HR, because I need real people. The organization is made up of real people. I'll stop now.
Thank you, Patricia. Your name?
Okay, I'm Patricia Akilato. I'm Senior Manager at Seven.
Kanda Chigo. First 10 who arrived, thank you. Early birds, thank you. Then we have, so we're going to do the lucky dip. Dr. Said of HR Magazine. How many of you have heard of HR Magazine? Yes, they support alternate HR and they support the Hrbp Meet Up consistently. They usually give their magazine, so please a round of applause to them. I think he has the recent magazine he wants to give out. How many do you have so we can do the lucky dip? I know you want to say one or two things, but I'm always afraid when Dr. says he wants to say one or two things because it becomes 4 or 5 things. So I'm going to stand. Yes, so. Yeah, sure. Please.
Actually, we have about 20 here.
Oh, there we go.
That's a lot.
Yes, it's a lot. We'll pick those who brought the complimentary cards. Thank you. Did you want to say? So while you talk, we can just.
Okay.
No. Can we do the lucky dip quickly and then share it and then you can talk? Does that work? First 20 people. Then maybe we have up to 20 cards. I'm just going to. Hold on. Okay, so just know that you will get a magazine. Please can you stand, sorry. Donya Dewolo again, there we go. So, Theophilus Adeosun. Watching out the dial, just stand and the magazine will go around. Can somebody help with that? Christy Yellow, Biodun Kolade, Tiwa Moyebi, is it? Moyela, sorry. Okay. Monica Benson, Bintu Jimor, Labisi Dudu Yemi, Esoye Kanu, Jude Basaki, Neka Idam, Nkem Ohen, Yetune Shoyami, Tonya Boham, Olake Atandachigo again. Where's Olake? She's not here. Give it out. Okay.
Read, books about HR, and this magazine was created to preserve knowledge by sharing knowledge. So if I know what you know and you know what I know, and it will have to leave us. So this is the leading magazine in West Africa, top 3 in number 1 in West Africa and top 3 in Africa. You will not go to any part of Africa and you see, possibly you see one that is doing better than us. And what we do is to help HR professionals to learn from HR leaders. There's so many articles, information about HR in Nigeria, in Africa, and also workshops. I don't know how many of you have paid as much as 500,000 or $1 million to educate yourself, but you can actually do that sometimes. So for me, I will encourage professionals to spend some time with, attending workshops around the globe, because then you can learn more. So the magazine is, subscription is about 8,000, but we do corporate and individuals, and it's just 8,000 naira. But we do a 1-year subscription, it's 4,400. Corporate is minimum of 5, and then it's 22,000. And then also the Hrbp Magazine Awards. I mean, I don't know, there are a few people here that attended this April. It's the best thing that's happened to HR in Nigeria. I can tell you that. And I mean, at the end of the day, I am just going to ask you to look out for the next one coming up, April 2017, Lagos Oriental Hotel. You gotta be there. You don't want to be any other place. So more information will come out to you through, any other means. So see me as Dr. Gupta for HR, okay?
All right, thank you so much. We have 2 people standing. Pass it on to anyone who's standing. We have refreshments afterwards, so courtesy of Honeywell. We have some little munchies and drinks. So on your way out, yeah. Yes, I just told them about it. Just like him again.
What she already said did not happen.
So help us fill that out really quickly. All right, so I think that's pretty much in terms of what you guys want to say. Yeah, you're good. So we're going to remind you to send us something to email to everybody. Oh, okay, one more thing about career advisory service. So we have this career advisory service that we just kind of launched outside in HR really quickly. If you want more information on career advisory service and how you can become like sort of like a certified career advisor and provide service working with us based on certain agreements, including the fact that your employer allows you to do that, please see Joshua or myself afterwards for more detail. Okay? All right, thank you.